So I fractured my foot. I literally tripped while walking down the street. That's how clumsy I am. But if I were to count my blessings, I would say that I'm lucky to have had this accident in China and not somewhere else because I got access to immediate, efficient, affordable healthcare at a public hospital. I still have the receipts, so let me share my personal experience. So I get to the emergency room of this hospital. The nurses took me in. They did the basics, the blood pressure, the heartbeat. They asked me a few questions just to make sure that I am in my full consciousness. And then they sent me to the cashier to pay to see a doctor and get a number. It costs 70 yuan, which is less than $10, basically peanuts. But here's where things get interesting. I am part of China's public social security system, even though I am a foreigner and without a permanent residence permit. I simply work and live in China, and yet I have access to that system. And it was in times like this that I truly appreciate the value and the benefit of having the safety net, because out of the 70 yuan, which again isn't that much, 60 was covered by the public pool. Basically, this collective insurance fund that everyone working in China contributes to, including myself, others, and the Chinese government. And the remaining 10 yuan was taken away from my personal account, my own money, deducted from my monthly salary. It is mandatory, but it's a small percentage, like less than 3%, and that normally gets set aside for situations like this. I get to the doctor, super nice guy, very accommodating. He says that I need a CT scan, which cost $28. I go get it done. There were barely anyone there. I didn't have to wait long. Results were instant. Go back to the doctor, looks at the photos. He says that I have a fracture of the metatarsal bone and that I needed a cast. And this was the biggest expense of the day, 147 US dollars. And this is how I ended up with this Christmas-inspired winter sock-looking cast that is actually pretty hard. My hospital trip in Beijing cost me less than 2 hours. I was in just after 10 a.m. and out before noon, and it cost 185 US dollars, which honestly is a steal when you think about how exorbitant medical bills are outside of China. And out of the 185 US dollars, I paid zero out of pocket. Nothing. I didn't even open my wallet, just my social insurance card. And this system is important, in my personal opinion, for two reasons. One, the working population in China, which is a large group, comes together with the Chinese government to contribute to this pool that is public, collective, and not for profit. And it benefits sick people, especially during medical events that are unforeseeable or unaffordable, so that medical bills don't bring these people down to their knees. For me, it was seeing a bone doctor at the ER, which, okay, in the grand scheme of things is not important, but others are dealing with surgeries, managing chronic illnesses, staying extended periods of time at the hospital, and they also benefit from this public pool because in China, healthcare is a public good. It's not a consumer good. And that's why you have this near universal basic medical healthcare coverage, as well as strict control of medical prices. And two, as a foreigner, I wasn't seen by the system as an outsider. They didn't ask about my passport. They didn't ask about my ID. All they needed was this, the social insurance card. And that puts me on equal footing with a Chinese citizen. Yes, I do pay my contributions, but at the same time, I am getting the exact same benefits as a Chinese would. And that, to me, makes me feel more at home in China.
小红书